What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews. And today, I'm going to be talking about Electronic Arts' first foray into the world of wrestling games, and we're going to be talking WCW Mayhem. Now, WCW Mayhem came out in 1999. There was a pay-per-view of the same name in November of '99, so I'm assuming the game dropped around that time. It was for the PlayStation 1 and 64 and Game Boy Color. I believe it came out on PC as well, but don't quote me on that. But I do know that it came out for the PS1, N64, and Game Boy Color because I had it on the N64 and Game Boy Color. And I remember it, just being one of those games where the roster was amazing. I mean, you had pretty much had every big star and every WCW mid carder that was on the roster at the time. From Goldberg to Sting to Kevin Nash to Scott Hall to Bret Hart, Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, Buff Bagwell, Lex Luger. The list goes on, and also lesser known stars like Lash LaRue, Hugh Morris at the time. Just everybody was in there. They made a very, very conscious effort to basically bolster the roster to make sure that they got everybody in there, and the characters were not. They did not skip on characters for sure. Also, I think you were able to unlock announcers such as Mean Gene Okerlund, Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan. I believe they were all playable characters in the game. And funny thing about it is, I remember the code to unlock everybody. So it was, you went to the options menu, you selected cheat codes, and you put in the following letters. It was PLYHDNGYS. So essentially, play hidden guys, but yeah, without some letters in there. But yeah, no, and that unlocked everything. And I remember just unlocking everything off the bat and being absolutely, like, not floored by it, but it was really slow. The characters kind of moved kind of like stingy or whatever, but you did have commentary from Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan, which was a nice touch. And you were able to go backstage and fight in areas, like the lobby of a hotel and just the backstage locker room area. So they definitely tried to get everything in there. I don't believe that there was a season mode in there. Matter of fact, yeah, I think there was, but I don't know. I don't remember what the exact premise of it was. But I do know that after this, Electronic Arts tried again to work with the WCW franchise in what would be their final effort. Yeah, man. WCW Backstage Assault, which we're not gonna talk about. That was just terrible. That'll probably be the only time I mention this only time I mention that atrocity of a game on this channel ever. And I'm being very serious about that. It was that bad of a game. Hence why probably one of the reasons that nobody talks about that WCW went under. No, I'm just kidding. But kidding about that part, but I'm not kidding about the part about the fact that we will never talk about WCW Backstage Assault on this channel. Anyway, but yeah. So what do you call it? Let me just throw one more tidbit in here. The reason why EA Sports took over the WCW license in the late '90s, early 2000s was the fact because WCW had a working relationship with THQ and the AKI Corporation. The same with the same company that made the WWE licensed games for the N64, and WWE ended up buying out. WWE ended up gaining exclusive access to the license, hence WCW having to find another publisher to make their video games. There was supposed to be a WCW Mayhem 2, which was supposed to come out in 2002 or something like that, but the game was canceled because, like I said, WCW went under and was bought out by the WWF at the time, so that game never got made. But their final game was WCW Backstage Assault, and yeah, it was terrible. But yeah, WCW Mayhem, it was, it dipped away from the arcade feel of the games before it, WCW NWO Revenge and WCW NWO World Tour, and went for a more simulation-based game. Slowed down gameplay. The characters moved a lot slowly. The moves were animated in a lot more realistic fashion, but it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. But I remember it fondly. It was one of the games that I got for Nintendo 64 before I got it on Game Boy Color. Back then, I used to buy a lot of duplicate games for systems. Like if it was available for more than one system that I had, for example, PlayStation and Nintendo 64, I would probably buy both versions just to compare. And there wouldn't be any, a lot of times there wouldn't be any like major differences between the two, but I know with WWF Attitude, which we'll cover later on this channel, there was a full motion video, of real clips of what was going on in the WWF at the time, and that video was not on the N64 due to technology differences. They weren't able to fit the video on the cartridge, and it was easier to fit on a PlayStation disc. But that is another story for another time when we cover WWF Attitude. But anyway, I definitely remember I definitely have fond memories of playing WCW Mayhem. And yeah, it was a really good game for what they tried to do. Yeah, so that is going to do it for this episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.